extreme scoring to do the work for you. A staple on open wheel calendars, Barcelona is more than Formula One's proving grounds. It's a pivotal role in this season's iFormula League AM Series, checking in for round 7 of 10. Might the points lead tighten, or might Jake Potts fall behind the lead as the season winds down? A whole lot is going to be answered today at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Hi, welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Barcelona, Spain. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and I'm so glad to welcome iFormula League to Pit Stop TV. Brought to you by Extreme Scoring, Capital Sim Racing, The Butt Kicker, and Into Objects. I'm thrilled to embark on this new journey of open wheel racing for the end of this season. Only 4 races to go. Our current plans are to cover 3 of those. We might get that 4th in next week at Montreal, but we'll just have to wait and see. Point being, we're here at Spain and we are ready to get into things. Qualifying on track now, and we're about to meet a whole lot of brand new drivers to us here at Pit Stop TV, and a whole lot of brand new championship scenarios and so on and so forth. Let's get straight into the sim and check things out. First off, we are at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. 2.84 miles, 4.57 kilometers in length. When you look at this track map, It really does demand the most out of these Dallara Formula 3s that we'll see on track today. Yes, that's right, Dallara Formula 3s. That's an exciting one for us as well. We have not seen these cars on Pit Stop TV in the past. Now, the previous lap record for the Formula 3 on iRacing is set by Felipe Drugovich at a 1:33.371, and I can tell you we are not at that time today. So that might be a couple of builds old, but that's the lap record that stands, and we are definitely not quite hitting that one, at least in qualifying trim. I doubt we're going to get there in race trim either. But as you look at Barcelona, this is definitely one of the more demanding, which I think is why it's a test track, more demanding circuits on the Formula 1 calendar and just on the Formula calendar as a whole. That turn 1-2 complex, that chicane already is difficult to get through. It's no easy feat getting around here at Barcelona. That long sweeper uphill at turn number 3, I think, is also a big challenge spot for these cars. And, you know, just getting into things, just practicing this car, learning it a bit myself, I quickly found that that is a tough corner. It doesn't look like it's all that tough. Looks like maybe it's one end of an NASCAR track, but it definitely is a tough corner to get right and to make the most time in. And I think we'll see that prove itself today. Of course, there's a whole lot of technicalities all over the race course. We'll get into each of them as the day goes on. Standings, though, coming into race number 7, I should say round number 7. We have 2 races per day, so round 7 here for the iFormula League AM drivers and their Formula 3 cars. Tieco, and I'm going to get this name wrong, I'm sure, to start off, but Tieco Krijsman leading the way at 116 points over Jake Potts. 3 race wins this season for Tieco, 2 for Jake Potts, but 3, though, for Ayestin Ciappellone. And again, some of these names, they're going to be wrong at first, so I very much welcome any of you guys to go back and watch this to correct me in Discord. We'll make sure that's right for the next race, but I appreciate everybody's understanding for the time being, as these are some names that are definitely out there for me. But James Malone sits in the 4th spot, Marian Barbiru in 5th, Lucas Link there in 6th, Jeff Schroeder, Patrick Olson, Danny O'Keefe, and Jackson Carr make up the remainder of your top 10. And you can see quickly there's very much a top-end bias in these point standings, as you usually see in Formula-style leagues. It's just the way this point system works out. It rewards guys who score up at the top more than it does down at the bottom. That is, of course, how any point system works, but it's heavily weighted in Formula Racing. It always is. So points after 6 rounds. I believe the most recent round was at Red Bull Ring in Austria. Definitely always a fun track to go to, and very much enjoyable. Qualifying 7.5 minutes to go, though. And we can just go ahead and jump on board, and I think this is going to be a lot of fun watching these guys work their way around Barcelona. Well, any racetrack that we go to this season in these Formula 3 cars. I'm new to them in general. I've got a little bit of excuse me, a little bit of experience here and there, just testing racetracks, but I'm not at all fluent with these cars or how to get the most time out of them, so I'm honestly fascinated to see how these guys are going to be able to do it. This is on board with our current pole sitter in qualifying, Ciappellone. Could be Ciappellone, I'm not sure, but we're going to go with Ciappellone for now. The amount of speed down into turn 1, even in these Formula 3 cars that are much slower than Formula 1, it's still a lot. It definitely can still rattle your brain a little bit. So 6.5 minutes to go. Ayestin has the pole currently, and that is over James Miller, who's currently in the pit lane. Lucas Link in 3rd is a little over a 10th back, and he's coming to a stop in the Capital Sim Racing number 015. It looks like he'll get back going. Joachim Flodman sits in the 4th position in car 33. And it looks like Team Banana on the side of that car, and we're going to learn teams, I'm sure, as we cover the back end of this season here for the iFormula League. A big shout out, by the way, to our partners with this series: Extreme Scoring, Capital Sim Racing, Butt Kicker, and Into Objects. Really do appreciate everything that sponsors are ever able to do for leagues on iRacing. It really does amp things up so much. It allows broadcasts like this to come straight to you. Marian Barbiru up there in the standings decent bit, is sitting in the 5th position in qualifying, a little ways ahead of Jake Potts. In fact, 9/1000ths of a second there. And 20 cars have made qualifying laps so far today, with 3 extras in the pit lane having not made a time just yet. Jackson Carr has been on track but did not record a time just yet. while Nicholas Marshall and Rory Collins sit in the pit lane, as Tristan Marshall is the final driver to have a time on the board. There's look at Jake Potts. Oh my goodness, and that's going to be a challenge I think today as well. I noticed the tires spin out of these corners every once in a while. The car actually tends to be decently balanced, as here's a look at your point leader, Tieko Krijsman. It just seems like getting up out of corners is really the place you have to watch this car. I didn't have too many issues with lockup, didn't have too many issues with random oversteer, but I definitely noticed that getting back onto power, it's not like it's a severely overpowered race car, but there is just enough there to actually spin those rear tires around. And it's more so if the rear wing is not loaded up with downforce. I think if the rear of the car is not loaded up with downforce or lateral force, it just tends to whip around. So out of those slower corners, out of the hairpins and slower chicanes today, we're going to see a little bit of wheel spin and a few spins, certainly from these drivers. Glad to see a lot of you guys checking in already from the iFormula League. If you're brand new to Pit Stop TV, welcome. Certainly glad to have you guys along for the ride as we're on board with your point leader in qualifying. Let's check in with Jeff Schroeder in car 92. Of course, Husingveld there on the side of the car. 8th place in qualifying ahead of Patrick Olsen, Jan Turbo for the top 10. And Weston Epps actually just moved up to the 15th position ahead of Paul Ayala. So we've got a lot of drivers on the move here in the back end of qualifying. That's always a good thing, right? It's always good to see these drivers moving around to the back end of the session, finding a little bit of time. That's always exciting, and it means we're going to have a good start to this race. And I'm excited as well to see the big Formula start from a standing start on the grid here at Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. Just on board here with Weston Epps, and actually somebody just went faster. Arturo Mayorga in car 2, position 14 now, just moved up to that 14th spot ahead of Frank Biezer and Weston Epps. And by all means, guys that are watching out there, fans, family, friends, whatever you are, whoever you are, by all means, if you guys have little tidbits about these drivers, any kind of team info, absolutely send it in over on the YouTube chat. We're keeping an eye on that. I'll even keep an eye on Twitch. Of course, you can watch Pit Stop TV on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. All 4 different places that you might want to find a live stream. We have got you covered, or at least 3 and maybe an extra there with Twitter. As qualifying starts to round down, a big shout out to our partners here at Pit Stop TV. Whiplash Media Simcams, simwrapmarket.com, and Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. Weston Epps, by the way, who we're on board with, has just jumped to the 9th position in qualifying. Car 3, flying up the standings. 2.5, 10 soft pole. Alexander Shana goes up. Actually, I think it's Shanna. I think he wants to go with Shanna as in banana. Alexander Shanna up the board to 11th position, just behind Patrick Olsen, who sits behind Weston Epps now in qualifying. So things moving around, positions always jostling. And in case you're here from Pit Stop TV and you're brand new to the iFormula League and you're not sure about their race format, these guys run 2 races a day, which I think is exciting. You don't usually see leagues that do that, but I'm excited for it here. 2 races per race a day. They run a 40% formula race, so 40% of a normal Grand Prix, and today that is going to be 28 laps, and then they back that up with a 7-lap sprint race. So it's kind of the best of both worlds from the recent iRacing, the recent Formula 1 sprint format, where you might have a couple of, well, actually, I guess it is the same kind of deal. It's just backwards, where you have the longer race before the quicker race. I'm excited to see how that goes. I'm excited to experience that firsthand today and kind of delve on into things with round 7. Races, I suppose, 13 and 14 on the season. Jan Turvo to 11th. He just came across the line. We're looking at the speed shot here, watching cars come on down to the start-finish line and wrap up their lap times and begin new ones. And there are still a handful of cars on track. Weston Epps has just pulled off, but with 30 seconds to go, there are still a fair amount of drivers qualifying. Here's a look at Martin Barberu Tieco Kridgeman is still on track. Out of Benelux. Patrick Olson, Jan Turvo. Ricardo DeMarchi. Andy Ray Miller, all on track. So 6 cars still out there on track qualifying. Here's a look at the Triple Three. And boy, if that doesn't speak a mix of Chip Ganassi Racing and Ferrari, I don't know what does. That is a beautiful car. I really like that. Qualifying wraps up here today at Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. Everybody's gotten their times in, and it looks like actually we're going for 26 laps. Thought it was 28. Might have had that one wrong. So 26 laps, the distance for our opening race on the day. Let's go ahead and meet your starting grid this afternoon at Barcelona. On pole, you'll find Yestin Chiappellone. I'm going to struggle on these names, I'm sure, so help is welcome, but James Miller will start from second. Starting third, it's Lucas Link. Joachim Flodman starts from the 4th position. Marian Barbarudo from 5th. Jake Pott, second in points, starts from 6th. Tieco, your points leader, will start from the 7th. Jeff Schroeder from 8th. And round out your top 10, Weston Epps and Patrick Olson. Other drivers also checking in on the grid today. You've got Jan Turvo from 11th, Alexander Shanna, gotta get that one right, Shanna from 12th, Paul Ayala from 13th, Ricardo DeMarchi 14th, Andy Ray Miller 15th, Arturo Mayorga from 16th, and to round out your top 20, it's Frank Beezer. You've got Ted Kuhlman, Jack Clark, and Tristan Marshall to round out your top 20 positions on the grid. Rory Collins and Nicholas Marshall make up round number 11. Jackson Carr will start from 23rd. Weather conditions today for this one before we actually get racing. 74.5 degrees Fahrenheit in the air. That is somewhere, I want to say, around 24 degrees Celsius, if I had to guess. And 76 degree track temp in Fahrenheit. Red lights are on, waiting for green lights to start this one. 26 laps the distance for our first race of the day. And green lights are out, we're away at Barcelona. Down to turn 1, everybody fanning out, 2, 3, 4 wide in some cases. We work through the first corner, and already Iaston's off track, another car off track, going up over the anti-cuts there, and that is problematic for so many as they work through the first complex and up to turn number 3. They'll go down to Repsol, and we've got a battle for the race lead. James Miller up the inside, new leader. Battles further back, Alexander Shanna. Patrick Olson side by side. One car slow, it's Rory Collins back there in the 23rd position. The leaders will carry on, and oh boy, already a lot going on in this first lap of action from Barcelona. 26 laps for our 40% Grand Prix race. You might not be able to win on lap 1, but you certainly can lose. And we've got a problem. Jack Clark is around. Into the barriers, it looks like one more car. Jackson Carr turned around. Issues on lap 1. And we'll head back and get a replay of that after the first lap. We'll finish. Well, another car spinning, crashing in the distance. And we have got a full course yellow already. Weston Epps, one of the drivers involved here. It looks like your point leader as well. Tieco, yes. Kridgeman involved. With the full course yellow, first of all, did not expect that one today. Let's go ahead and go look back at the start of this race and watch these guys get going here. This was rather early on in the lap. And recall Rory Collins being one of the first one to go off. So we'll go on board here with Rory Collins in car 62. Started 21st, currently 21st now after this issue in turn 4. And the Repsol curve biting another. Really biting the first of the day. Let's go on board with Jack Clark, though. An issue with Jackson Carr down here in turn 7 and 8. And the Get Good Racing driver issues very, very quickly. And he actually came into Jackson Carr, it looks like. He heads off into the barrier, and I think the Ariga Motorsport driver caught one more. And then later in the lap, you have the issue with Tieco and the 3-car of Weston Epps, it looks like. So a lot happening very quickly. Weston gets up over that curbing on the outside of 10 and very quickly comes on over into the side of Tieco and will hurt the points leader very, very early. The good news is, of course, for Tieco, he's got a whole second race coming up. So even if this is a wash, he's got a second chance of the day to make points back up. And I think that's one of the rewarding things about this kind of race format. And I think one of the reasons we're going to see some exciting stuff these last few weeks. Taking a look here at your race leader, Miller. Chapelone in second, Lincoln third, Potts fourth, Schroeder fifth, and some work happening in the pit lane. Here's a look at Jack Clark. Oh my goodness, that is not how he wanted his day to go, but looks like gets a fast repair, gets that right front wheel reattached, a new front wing, and will head back out. Had to tow to the pit lane after that incident in turn 7 with Jackson Carr. Jackson Carr, it looks like, done for the day, by the way. Some damage on, well, maybe not some damage, but took a spin there on lap 1, and he's doing all right in the 21st position. Weston Epps as well after his contact. His incident there with Tieco is in the 20th spot. Tieco now in 17th, and it looks like it is actually headed down the pit lane. Maybe problematic for our point leader. This is going to sort him way to the back here, as Ayeston will actually see all these guys setting purple laps. 3:15, that is a not the lap you want to have on record, but Weston Epps also joining Tieco on the pit lane, and actually Tieco is not pitted yet, so you can see that right front wing is still damaged, and now he'll get that replaced. Weston Epps into the pit lane, car 3. Very similar looking stop here. Weston will release, and unfortunately, Tieco, yeah, he's going to have to go all the way back to the end of the field here, 21st, maybe even 22nd position, but he'll work back onto the track. It does look like pace car lights have been extinguished. Unfortunately, for some drivers, we've already burned a few laps here. We're going to restart on lap 4 of 26, which means these guys have a lot less time to actually get up there and make opportunity for themselves. And this is no longer a standing start. This is going to be, it looks like, a single file rolling start. And that's going to be difficult for these guys to overcome that are in the back of the field, I think, especially like Weston Epps and Tieco Krigsman. They're definitely going to be challenged in the back, but if you look at the front of the, or I guess if you look from their perspective, look at the entire field ahead of them, there is still opportunity. There is still a lot of points up there. Even if they're not able to get up to the very front of the field, they can pass a lot of these cars and get up into a better position. But while we wait on this pace lap to finish up, we'll go Pit Stop TV side by side for the first time this season with the iFormula League, and we'll be right back with your restart from Barcelona.
extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Welcome back to Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. Our race leader headed into turn 16 is lighting things up. We're back green flag racing as we exit the final corner. Green flag once again as they all head past the start-finish line. And of course we saw what happened there to bring out our full course yellow. James Malone up front, James Malore rather up front. Iason Chapelone has got company for second place. Lucas Link, they're in the wings. And Lucas actually went a bit wide there to turn 3. Gives up a lot of time for turn 4. Meanwhile, Jeff Schroeder, Ricardo DeMarchi battling here for the 5th position. Let's go on board with car 73. Ricardo with that Capital Sim Racing decal there on the side of the car. Pushing big time. Problems for Andy Ray Miller, it looks like. He's slow. Gives up a couple of spots into turn 5 rather. Jan Turvo and Joachim Flodman go on by. That's back there for the 10th position, though. Back up to Jeff Schroeder and Ricardo DeMarchi. This for 5th. Oh, that was maybe a lunge into turn 10. And oh, man, Jeff Schroeder hanging on. Thankfully hangs on to that race car. Slides into the 6th position now behind Ricardo DeMarchi ahead of Alexander Shana. Teammates now able to pounce, baby, and Ricardo DeMarchi this next lap. Looks like Shanna and Schroeder are going to be able to work together. Jack Clark, by the way, is still 22nd after the restart. As we're on board here with Shanna. Shanna, I think it's Shanna. Shanna. For some reason, my brain goes Shanna, and then I correct myself to Shanna. But we're going to go with Alexander Shanna. And you can see the battle ahead of his teammate, Jeff Schroeder. Moving right, moving left, ducking around Ricardo DeMarchi. Now to inside for turn number 2 of that 73. And oh, man, this is tight stuff. And that brings Shanna right back in. Now to the inside for turn 4. Schroeder looked again. Door shut. Turn 5 a little too far back. This battle for 5th. I think the best battle on the racetrack. Jake Potts and Lucas Link are also close for 4th. Our leaders, though, separated by 0.8 of a second as we work our 2nd green flag lap. Oh, Schroeder, that was not where he wanted to be. Out to the curbing, popped that right front. Thankfully, no damage. Ahead of these guys, I mentioned Jake Potts, Lucas Link. They're sitting 3rd, 4th. They were battling moments ago. Looks like starting to work themselves out. Behind these guys, Joachim Flodman have Jan Turbo, Andy Ray Miller. This could be a good little battle. And oh, that was real sideways for Jan Turbo. That is not what you want to do through turn 11 and 12. And you can kind of slide these cars around a little bit. You can abuse them just a tad, but you don't want to go too far. You don't want to burn these tires up early in a 26-lap race. You've got to make sure you keep them on you. We don't have tire compounds, different compounds anyways, in these cars. Problems in the back. Nicholas Marshall, Rory Collins. Marshall is, oh no, stuck on the curbing. And Marshall will take the tow back to the pit lane. Tieko Kridgeman back on the pit lane as well. I don't see damage. I'm not sure I see damage on Tieko's 215. Could this be for tires? He was just behind everything that just happened in the final chicane. Let's go on board here with Tieko and we'll see everything that happened. A bit of contact there, a bit more contact there from his teammate, and just goes straight on by everything that just happened there in turn 15. That could be a play from Tieko for tires. Three play here. Nicholas Marshall. Contact from the 113, it looks like, of Marion Barbaru. Marshall, the driver that got stuck, beached on that curb outside of turn 15. Everything good so far, but we'll see the contact there, and the Blue Frog 32 spun around, stuck on the curb, a few other cars leaving the scene. Oh, and some contact there as well, and that's what beached Marshall. My. Wow. Jack Clark making a pass across the start-finish line. Actually getting passed, rather, by Ted Kuhlman. That is good for 17th position. All the while, third and fourth is a battle once again. Lucas Link on Jake Potts. Down through turn 5 into turn 6. And let's go on board with Lucas Link, able to pursue a little bit. Actually, teammates behind these guys just swap spots. Jeff Schroeder, Alexander Shanna. Shanna now moving up into the 6th position, able to maybe chase down Ricardo DeMarchi. We'll have to wait and see. I am curious as to how this third place battle is going to sort out to round out the podium. Jake Potts, Lucas Link, and if anybody else is able to get up to these guys. As you see our leaders go on by the start-finish line, beginning in lap number 8 at Barcelona. Most battles in this field have spread out, but Rory Collins starting to catch up to Ted Kuhlman. This is for 18th position. This is way in the back of the field, but Collins has got something. I think he's trying to recover from that issue on lap 1 where he went off in turn 4 over in Repsol. Takes a look to the right side of the Audi and decides to duck back in behind. Further ahead, Andy Ray Miller, Jan Turvo. Close by. To the Capital Sim Racing 12th position, 190. Chasing Andy Ray Miller in that it looks like Orion Legendary machine. Again, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this livery from this team. James Malore leading his way through turn 16. Headed down to the start-finish line this time. He's got 1 second over Chapelone, who just went purple. That is actually big for these guys. That fastest lap could come in handy for Chapelone in the standings. If we take a look at the standings actually one more time. Chapelone comes into today third place, 28 points out. I don't even see James Malore anywhere in the top 20. So for him to be leading right now, I think is rather impressive. Ricardo DeMarchi comes in 15th. He's 5th place currently. Alexander Shanna comes in 12th. He is 6th on the racetrack. Jeff Schroeder comes in 7th. And is currently 7th in the standings and 7th on the racetrack. The big challenge, though, and I think the big storyline of this day will be Tieko Krizman in this first race of the day. 21st currently, and he could be working on a tire strategy, already pitted for tires. Actually, not sure if these guys will need tires. It kind of seems like it would be something they would need as problems for Alexander Shanna. Car 45 looks like maybe a harmless spin at a turn 9. Might have actually been turn 8. And of course, Shanna had just passed his teammate in Jeff Schroeder. Schroeder's got a race win on the season. Shanna out of Illinois. Let's see what happens here. Turn 7, a little bit loose. Turn 8, yeah, that car just came right around on him. The hand-cooked tire is not enough to keep him from spinning there out of the 8th corner. And he drops all the way into 11th spot, nearly in the clutches of Jan Turvo. Only a few tenths ahead, and actually, Jan is closing out of turn 16. This could be a fun little battle, as we got problems for Arturo Mayorga, the Blue Frog number 2. Turned around to the back of the field. He'll jump to 17th. There goes 18th. Here comes 19th. Problems for car 2. Here we go. Battle for third. Jake Potts, Lucas Link. Tenth lap of action now, and we got back racing on, I think, lap 4. So 7th lap of green flag racing, and finally tires coming in for Lucas Link. He's able to fight for this spot. Jan Turvo, Alexander Shanna, they're side by side, or at least they were. Shanna gets back ahead. Jake Potts, Lucas Link. We got battles all over the racetrack, and that's what you like to see in these kinds of leagues. Proper good racing around the course. And if Lucas Link needs it, he's got his teammate in the waiting, closing in. Riccardo DiMarchi joining the fight, it looks like, shortly. At least it looks like these guys are teammates. Capital Sim Racing on the side. Yeah, Capital Sim Racing on the sides of both cars. Pretty hard to miss that bright yellow with black on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Yestin Chapelone is starting to close in on a race leader. Car 81, slowly, little by little, making inroads on this lead. Chapelone Racing, a solo driver in his efforts here in the league. As Tristan Marshall's down to the pit lane, down and away. A 7.7 second stop that is not indicative of just the tire changes. Actually, we got a pass for the race lead. Malor, I don't know if he caught a slowdown or what happened. Very quickly lost the race lead. Very oddly as well. And immediately Chapelone pounces on the occasion, takes the race lead away. Let's go back and see what happened to car 9. Just as we had drama in the pit lane, there was drama for the race lead. Here's our race leader Malor, or at least our previous race leader Malor, walking up through turn 5. The pass happens in 7 and 8. Sideways there, and my goodness, Malor just kind of has to give that one up. Allows Chapelone to go by for turn 9, and that's it, just like that. But as I was initially getting to, Chapelone solo in his efforts here, no teammates in the iFormula AM League. Another pitter, Joachim Flodman, joined by Alexander Shanna. So the Team Banana 33 car comes in, Shanna comes in, Paul Ayala is coming in. So tires definitely, I think, are going to have to happen here very, very soon. It looks like right at the halfway mark as well. So was that maybe a move from Tieco to get ahead of the mark and get back out early on tires? That seems odd. I don't think you'd want to pit that early for tires. I really don't think that's going to benefit you unless you're able to really save the entire race and just count on being able to pass a few cars. It might work, but I'm not so sure about it. The Knox eMotorsports driver Malor trying to regroup, recenter here. Only a half second off your race leader Chapelone. Meanwhile, that time through the pit lane, Joachim Flodman sorts into 16th, Shanna into 17th. Shanna with a faster stop. Paul Ayala, the slowest stop of the bunch. He is now 19th behind Weston Epps, who may still have to pit for tires. Here we go, though. For the race lead, do we have a battle in turn 1, or does James Malora sit and save fuel? The defense there from Chapelone to the inside of turn 1. Malora on the outside. The Noxie Motorsports car will take the race leader on the outside of turn 1. New race leader again, but it's an old race leader. Car 9 back to point. This time, Patrick Olson pits. 10th position there. Chapelone trying to regroup, see what he can get back after here. I do love these onboards from Whiplash Sim Racing, Whiplash Media, I should say. A beautiful look at almost the driver's eye. You're right, you're almost there from the driver's perspective, able to see what they see. And in this case, boy, does it help tell the story. A shout out to our partners here, Whiplash Media SimCams, SimRapMarket.com, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. And of course, our partners with the series, Extreme Scoring, Capital Sim Racing, Butt Kicker, and Into Objects. One driver has stopped. Arturo Mayorga has stopped on the racetrack. This could prompt a full course as he is not moving, and cars will be coming around here shortly. Frank Bieser, by the way, spins as well. But Arturo Mayorga finally now will get back going. You can see cars are in the background. He has got to get going. Leaders are coming up on him. Arturo finally gets going. Here come the race leaders. He bleeds over in front of them and finally now gives up. And, well, he's still on the inside of Ayeston, but will let them go by. Not sure what brought him to a stop there. Let's go back and look at this for Arturo Mayorga. It was straight out of the pit lane as well, which is really, really odd. He had a normal pit stop, 7.5 seconds, maybe on the slightly on the long side. And then just literally comes up here and comes to a stop in car 2. Cars racing by. And the Blue Frog Racing machine, that's puzzling. That is truly puzzling, but thankfully nobody caught up at anything. And I'd have to imagine, you know, we talk about sim racing being, well, it is real racing. It is real competition, but it is, of course, on a computer. And these guys are racing from their homes. So it's very possible that Arturo may have had maybe somebody come to the door, maybe a pet needed attention or something. That's very much a reality of sim racing. That's just part of it, and very much could have been the reason for that stop on the racetrack. Regardless, though, our race leaders battling. Neither have pitted for their set of tires. And it's about split halfway. 11 drivers yet to pit as Yan Turbo will spin around to the final chicane. Problems for the 190. And he will stay on the racetrack, no pit stop there. But 11 cars and actually make that 9 cars as Beezer into the pit lane. Marian Barbaroo into the pit lane. Frank will leave the pits. Marian into his pits, up on the pneumatic jacks, up in the air, taking new tires. Ted Kuhlman also into the pit lane, it looks like. Or is he stopped? No, he is stopped on the racetrack. That is out of turn 10. And he will get back going. Ricardo DiMarchi, by the way, has caught up to his teammate nearly. It is a 6/10 of a second gap between these two as we work lap 15, and problems ahead. Who is that that's just spun out? Jake Potts! Second place in the standings, just spun from third place. And that is a serious, serious hit to the ego for car 41. And if we get to talk to him at some point today, I definitely want to know what happened there. We'll go back and get a look at it. The lowest he's been now, aside from the start of the race, is now. He started 6th, is now currently 5th, as Cipollone pits. Potts will pit. So could this just be a tire thing for Jake Potts? No, actually, that was under braking. I don't know what just happened. That certainly was not tires, though. That much I can tell you. On board of them here. Oh, too much rear brake. That's definitely what happened there. Too much rear brake, brought the rear of the car around, and he had to catch it there. That was a good catch, all things considered, honestly. Now just 3 cars left to pit. Jake Potts has made his stop. He's back on track behind Cipollone by about 4.2 seconds and goes way off track here. Jan Turbo in the pit lane. Just waiting for our race leader, James Malore from Noxie Motorsport. And Lucas Link and Ricardo Marchi, both from Capital Sim Racing, to go ahead and pit here. James Malore should come in this time. And we should see Jack Clark as well. Maybe even the Tieco Kruisman as Jan Turbo has parked the car. No, he is not actually. Maybe dealing with some connection difficulties. For a moment, had sunk through the field. But James Malore goes one more lap. Lucas Link. Oh, he was sideways there. Swatting flies. Ricardo Marchi, he will stay out. So these top 3, they stay out. 10 laps to go. 11 laps to go, right? No, 10. There we go. Battle here for 11th. Frank Beezer, Alexander Shanna. Up the inside goes Shanna, and that's an easy pass at turn 10. It didn't look like it at first, but a beautiful, beautiful move from car 45. Sliding on through for that spot. Tristan Marshall and Tieco Kruisman battling for 16th spot. It looks like Tieco was likely passed recently as he begins his comeback race. Oh, sliding around a little bit on the brakes as well. Jack Clark is just pitted. I got excited. Thought maybe he had spun for a moment, but he is in the pit lane and will pull back away. 6.9 seconds in the box. When does James Malore pit? Into turn 13 now. 14-15 left to go. Will an Oxy Motorsport driver duck in this time? Yes, he will. So a race leader finally coming into pit for tires. Lucas Link, does he pit this time? Yes, he does. Ricardo Marchi has just spun in turn 14 rather. Spins again. Yeah, he needs tires. Oh, my goodness. The race unwinding here for the Capital Sim Racing team. He's going to drop at least to around, I want to say, the 7th position, if not deeper. That is tough to swallow. James Malore, meanwhile, will leave the pit lane just as Lucas Link gets to his box. And Malore will blend well ahead of Cipollone. Not much of a difference in the pit lane. In fact, Cipollone was faster, but Malore able to put a lot of time here on Cipollone. 2.3 seconds between our leaders now. Ricardo Marchi, by the way, will blend out in 6th, no 7th. There goes Patrick Olson. And Alexander Shanna working on Andy Ray Miller down the front stretch. So quickly, those battles we had at the front of the field, they kind of go away. And actually, I say that, but Cipollone has worked back to about 1.1 seconds, 1.2 seconds behind James Malore for the race lead. So this race is not over. It's just different. A bit wide there at turn 9, but he's making up time inside of 9 tenths, nearly 8 tenths. Yes, inside of 8 tenths into the braking zone for turn 10. So the cold tires from Malore are just working against him, losing that advantage he had worked up. Now, the graphic is tracking to Marchi. That's who was ahead of Ciappellone at the start-finish line. But the time is tracking to your race leader. That is Malor, and you can see he is on Malor. We don't need this graphic anymore. Ayeston is there for the race lead. Once again, if you're brand new to Pit Stop TV, I invite you to follow along on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and here we go. A fight for the race lead. Ayeston Ciappellone up the left side. He's going to go around the outside of turn 1. That's how Malor had the race lead earlier. They both slide on newer tires, and Malor hangs on for now. This race, though, far from over. The onboard from Malor looking back at Ciappellone through the wing. Oh, what a big lockup there. When we get back to the start-finish line, it will be just 7 laps to go. Oh, that was close for the curbing. It'll be just 7 laps to go, which I believe is still the length of the sprint race coming up after this. So we could get a little bit of a teaser. Meanwhile, Lucas Link, Jake Potts, not teammates. They're battling side by side in contact. A crash. Lucas Link, it looks like, had squeezed Jake Potts over. And Link is able to keep going. Lucas does not stop out of that. Spins himself back around. But does he need to pit? He's got some damage to the floor pan of that car, and that is not how you want things to be looking there. Yeah, 4 damage there. It looks like it's at least body damage. A lot less is crumpled on that Dallara than I thought would be for the Capital Sim Racing 015. Let's go back and look at it. From the left side of Link's machine, this is one view. Oh, that's really tough to call. This would have F1 fans in a bit of an outrage, I think, if it were Max and Lewis. So Jake Potts sends it into 7. That's a bit aggressive. But out of turn 9, I'm just not sure he's left enough room. And none of these are great angles, so I have to go to his onboard here. Let's take another look at this from Jake Potts' perspective. He makes that lunge into turn 7, and I mean, it works for him, it sticks, but that is a late lunge. That he almost got crashed there by the turn-in from Lucas Link, so that was already a late. But then, sticks it around the outside of 9. This is heads-up racing, and I just think, man, I think Lucas definitely needs to allow him to get back onto the racetrack. That's just really, really tough racing. It's not over, though. These two only a few tenths apart. We very much could have another run-in from these two drivers. Hopefully not, as Malor goes purple. A second apart on the racetrack, but that is big as far as the timing sheets go. Over 1/10 faster than Ciappellone's previous best lap time. Deeper in the field, Joaquim Flodman battling with Ricardo De Marchi, or at least closing in. Andy Ray Miller on Marian Barberu. And it looks like Weston Epps battling a little bit with Tristan Marshall. And our point leader, by the way, Tieko Kridgman, if he's able to stay on the racetrack on these old tires, 14-lap old tires, he can collect the 14th spot. And I'm not sure exactly of the points format here for these guys, but that's not that bad, all things considered. It really is not. That's really not a bad day. Lucas Link, though, starting to set his sights back on Jake Potts. Jake, of course, spun earlier from 3rd place, gave the spot up, and now, oh boy, the Capital Sim Racing 015 is ready to pounce. It's 5 laps to go this time by. Nicholas Marshall has parked the car. Just 19 cars remain. Mayorga, by the way, is parked as well. 8 laps to go. Rory Collins parked 5 laps ago. This is the battle for third. No dice there for Link. He's going to have to wait at least another set of corners. A half second back. There's no way he drafts up in time for turn 1. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So 5 laps to go that time by the start-finish line. James Malore carries a 1.2 second advantage over Ayestin Chapelone. And here we go for third, maybe. Link taking the inside. Potts out around the outside, loses some time, nearly contact again. Contact again? Oh, there's no way Link is going to be happy with that. Oh, maybe contact there at 5, and Link barely hangs onto the car. How did he do that? Tieco, by the way, pits. Your point leader going to drop way down the order. It looks like these boys are separated for a moment. Let's go back and see what happened this time. There was contact out of 3, headed to Repsol. And that, I think, is going to ruffle some feathers, certainly. Beautiful driving in turn 3 from Link. And Jake Potts just comes over and hits him. I don't think that was intentional, but he did come over and hit him pretty hard. This the on-board from Lucas Link. And into turn 5, just kind of lunges in. And yeah, that time I think was just trying to get back to him, just trying to make up time. Now, though, live, they're back within a couple of tenths. In fact, 5 tenths, a half second once more, as they file onto the front stretch here at Barcelona. I will say, as far as tracks that I expected to give us stellar racing, fantastic battles like this, Barcelona was not initially high up on that list. Places like Austria last week, Canada next week, even Indianapolis and Suzuka to finish out the championship here, those are tracks I would have pegged as more exciting races as opposed to Spain. But this has been fantastic. I really have enjoyed this race. And we still have another race to go. This one's not over, and still another race to go. As Lucas Link charges once again. Turn 5 seems to be his strong suit. At least on corner entry. It seems like that car really could turn in nicely. Makes up a bit of time on the braking, so I'm impressed. But you've got to have that on corner exit. And these are slightly underpowered Formula cars. You've got to carry that momentum through the corner. You cannot rely solely on what you can put to the floor. You've got to carry that momentum through the corner, and I think Lucas is starting to realize that a bit more as he continues to battle here. Moving around, getting downforce into the corner. It'll be 3 laps to go, this time by the start-finish line. By the way, Jeff Schroeder is closing in. Schroeder from the Lumos E Motorsports stable with Alexander Shanna. Patrick Olson, Ricardo DeMarchi, by the way, they're battling as well. This is that nose-to-tail battle as they work onto the front stretch. A lot of cars starting to work into a line here. From Jake Potts and Lucas Link all the way back. Look at those cars. And swerving now. This is for third. Jake Potts will take the inside. Defensive for turn 1. Link still trying to find a way by. This is where things got scary a lap ago, or a lap or 2 ago maybe. Lucas Link, nowhere to go, goes around the outside of turn 4. Now going to try the over-under. A crossover for turn 5, and Jake Potts leaves him just enough room to the outside. Sits back. Oh, that was a beautiful karting move right there. That was fantastic from Lucas. He's to the inside and getting squeezed like a lemon, but out of turn 7. Here we go. And Jake Potts takes that spot back away. My, wow, that is good stuff. That was fantastic. That was properly fantastic. And it's not over. 2.5 laps to go. Here we go. Lucas Link to the outside for turn 10. Jake Potter on the inside. It's going to be tough to keep that spot from there. Oh, Jake runs him wide. I'll tell you what, Jake realizes the opportunity in front of him for points. He needs to keep this podium spot. He has got to get all the points he can, with Tieko so far down the order in 18th spot. 15 positions between your top two in standings right now, and Jake has got to hang on, but he's starting to get caught up now by Jeff Schroeder. Ricardo DeMarchi's closing in. Patrick Olson. We've got a line of 5 cars headed down the front stretch. This is spectacular. Look at that. And it all begins with the battle for third. 2 laps to go, and there we go. Lucas Link will not just nose ahead, but oh, in contact! Turns in, and they're both done. One car goes off as Link came back onto the racetrack. I think that was Olsen. Yes, it was. Drama. And Jake Potts is trying to drive back to Lucas Link. He's got no front wing. I don't think that's going to go very well. Ricardo DeMarchi, Jeff Schroeder. Here we go. This now, the new battle for third. They go to turn 5. That is DeMarchi up the inside for third. Beautiful pass on Jeff Schroeder, who is now into 4th. If you want a drama at Barcelona, you have got it. Our leaders now within a second of each other. Let's get a replay of turn 1, and then we'll go to our race leaders to finish this one out. This is going to be exciting. But Lucas Link, Jake Potts. This is definitely something. And Ricardo DeMarchi has just spun. You see the turn-in from Lucas Link across Jake Potts. I think that one is definitely a little bit on Lucas. As you see, white flag is out, presented by Whiplash Simcams. Ricardo DeMarchi spinning moments ago. And here is a look at it. Turn 10, locks it up, goes for a spin. That's it. But to our race leaders, a half second apart. They're working through Repsol now. Turn 4. Jake Potts, by the way, out of the pit lane. That is not at all a surprise. Yastin Chapelone, though. Chapelone, there we go. With an opportunity maybe to win this first race on the day. Just tenths of a second apart. Turn 7. A big opportunity here. Makes up some time. And really, he has got to be there by turn 13. If he's not there by turn 13, it's going to be tough. I don't think you draft by him through 16, the final corner here at Barcelona. And I think Chapelone is just a little too far back. Closes in 10, though. Bit of a wider line. 11, 12, and he's sliding. On the power, and that's it. Chapelone not going to win here at Barcelona unless Malora makes a mistake here in the final couple of corners. And the Noxie Motorsport driver is not going to falter. James Malora will go to victory lane for the first race of the day at Barcelona, winning the 26th lapper. Fantastic run out of car 9. Ricardo DeMarchi spins again. This time out of turn 10, he falls to 8th. As the rest of our field will come on by. Jeff Schroeder, 25 seconds behind the leaders when it's all said and done. Here he comes at a turn 16. Schroeder goes 3rd, joins the podium. Joaquim Flodman 4th. Lucas Link hangs on for 5th. Patrick Olson 6th. Alexander Shanna, 7th place. Ricardo DeMarchi, 8th. Frank Beezer, 9th. Marion Barber, your top 10. And Jake Potts, after all that turn 1 drama, is going to finish 11th position today. Andy Ray Miller, 12th. Yan Turvo, 13th. Paul Ayala, 14th. Jack Clark will finish 15th. Then it's Weston Epps, Tristan Marshall, and your point leader, Tieko Kridgesman. Such a painful race for him. 18th position, caught up in the lap 1 melee, comes across the line, and that's it. Now, unfortunately, our results graphic will not pull. At least I can try, but I don't think it's going to pull from that race. We can try. And it does not. So unfortunately, we don't have those results. So I read all those out. But wow, that was that drama there at the end was certainly something. Let's actually go back and see if we can find that one more time. I'm sure we can. And I think this might be it. Out of turn one. Yes, this is going to be it. This drama here at the end. This is a perfect view. I think Link just kind of turns in a little bit. I think in fairness, if you're the 41 there, Jake Potts, you can lightly sit back and fall in line, but it's heads up racing. I don't think they had been cleared for very long, if at all. And from Jake Potts' point of view, he's still racing for third place. He's still racing for a podium position. Here's the onboard. So he had been cleared and kind of lunges back in. That's going to be the center of some drama for sure. Now, while these guys get on track for their warm-up session, it looks like we're still not able to get to the get to the results graphic, as it were, but that is okay, as that was honestly one heck of a way to round out the first race of the day. Warm-up session is on track for our sprint race, and while these guys get warmed up for race number 2 on the afternoon, actually, yes, so we will go to a quick break, and we'll be right back for our 7-lap sprint race in just a moment.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome back to Pit Stop TV in the virtual circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. Just 28 seconds remain in warm-up for our sprint race. You just saw everything happen in race number 1 on the afternoon. And boy, was there drama there at the end with Jake Potts and Lucas Link. And if you're watching over on YouTube, you're able to chime in a little bit, obviously in YouTube chat, but also we have got a poll up to let us know what you think of that battle. Was it fair racing or was it just a bit too much? We want to know. Do you think a driver was in the wrong? Maybe. Do you think Lucas shouldn't have turned in? Do you think Jake should have given that corner up in turn 1? And what do you think about all that stuff that led up to it? We definitely want to know here, Pit Stop TV. That was thrilling. But race 2 is up, and we've got a bit of an invert, it looks like. And it looks like it's going to be the top 12 cars being inverted. Let's go down to the grid and meet your starting grid for race number 2 on the day. On pole, Andy Ray Miller. Jake Potts will start from 2nd. Marion Barbaru from 3rd. Frank Beezer from 4th. Ricardo DeMarchi, Alexander Shanna, Patrick Olson, Lucas Link, Joachim Flodman, Jeff Schroeder. Your top 10 for our 7-lap sprint race. Starting 11th, Ayeston Chiappellone, who finished 2nd in the beginning race. Then James Malore from 12th. Gann Turbo will start from 13th. Paul Ayala from 14th. Jack Clark from 15th. And Weston Epps there in the 16th spot. To round out your field, you'll have Tristan Marshall, Tieko Kridgesman, Ted Kuhlman, Nicholas Marshall, your top 20. Then Rory Collins, Arturo Mayorga, and Jackson Carr, the rest of the field. But let's get ready for racing here. A 7-lap sprint at Barcelona. Green lights are out. We're racing. Already Jake Potts, a fantastic start as they work down to turn number 1. Here we go, side by side, 3 wide in some spots. Jake Potts, the race leader, as they head down to the first corner. Some lockups in some places, and Andy Ray Miller is falling back just a little bit as he falls to 3rd. Look at this 3 wide. We're crashing. Frank Beezer, Alexander Shanna. Shanna escapes quickly. He's done. Beezer's got damage, but our race leader now, Jake Potts, heads out of the 4th corner, and he's got company, Marion Barbaru, not too far back. One more car out wide, that's Paul Ayala. Tristan Marshall starts in the pit lane, it looks like. You see our field work out of turn 8 and out of turn 9. Taking out some of the cones out of turn 9, but here we go. Our race leaders, and actually Andy Ray Miller moving over, letting more cars go by. He's got some front wing damage there on the right side. Jake Potts spins. You're kidding. Jake Potts around from the race lead, gives it all up once again. And he's going to be kicking himself. Had such a great opportunity multiple times in race 1. Spun in turn 10 and actually another car around. What is happening here at Barcelona? Ayeston Chiappellone spins and that collects Joachim Flodman. What an opening lap in our 7-lap sprint. And it looks like Beezer is pitting, and yes he is. Let's go back and see what happened here at the start of this one. Chaos is the short answer, but we're looking for the long answer here on the replay. So quickly, Jake Potts is going to take the race lead. Trying to find him there in the replay. There he is. Quickly, he gets out to the advantage and just watch these guys out of the first corner, moving all around, jostling for position. And Frank Beezer is going to be at the center of all this with Alexander Shanner on the outside in turn 3. And that is the 77, it looks like, of Patrick Olson that goes 3 wide and actually bumps Beezer out of the way. Incredible stuff here on the opening lap. Ted Kuhlman has just spun live. Let's watch the spin, though, first for our race leader at the time, Jake Potts, who spins out in turn 10. We'll let the replay play to it because this is actually... Whoa, he almost lost it there in 7 and 8. I definitely did not expect this kind of crazy racing here. This has been fantastic, but here's the issue for Jake Potts in turn 10. The car just out to the curbing, and yeah, that right rear gets carried off in the curbing, and he goes around. And then there was the issue for Chiappellone, who actually moved up a few spots by virtue of everything happening there in lap 1. And now an issue with Nicholas Marshall is, it looks like, going to involve Jake Potts once again. It's hard to say, but here's the spin. Oh, Chapeloni gets punted by the 3-car. That was Weston Epps. Coming back live, though, we've got a battle for second. Your race 1 winner from today, James Malore, all over the back end of Ricardo DeMarchi. And if I'm Malore, I've got to feel pretty good. It might only be a 7-lap race, but oh, that lunge was big at the inside of turn 5. It might only be a 7-lap race, but you know you're quick, and boy is he. As he fires out of the inside, now gets squeezed here by DeMarchi. These guys race aggressive, and there's contact there. And these guys, it is tooth and nail. Jake Potts, Jan Turvo, that's the battle for 10th. Potts goes on by. And here we go. Ricardo DeMarchi passes back by in turn 10. Contact there again from Malore. This is bringing their the Capital Sim Racing teammate Lucas Link into this, rather. So Lucas Link now going to have an opportunity. And one car spins. It's Jeff Schroeder in the background. The Lumos E Motorsport driver goes around at a turn number 12. Just like that, lap 3 is over, though. On to lap number 4, and we're already in the back half of this race. I guess right about halfway, technically. As Marion Barberu is off to a 2.6-second lead and a purple lap that time. Here we go, a big move from James Malore to the outside for turn 1. That's how he got the race lead back away from Jake Potts earlier. Gets squeezed out of the curbing there. Ricardo DeMarchi said, no, you're not getting room. I need these points, you don't. And DeMarchi, man, he is racing so aggressively, just like we saw Lucas Link and Jake Potts doing a little while ago. And now Lucas Link is in this battle. He pulls up on the 9 car. Dips to the left side in turn 5. Looks to the inside. Does not make that move. It's covered nicely by Malore. And I've just realized, I've been saying Malore is Molaire. James Molaire. There we go. Gotta get that one right. James Molaire. I apologize, James. That entire first race, I had that one backwards. Had the O and the E reversed. But James Molaire. Meanwhile, your point leader is 7th position, working on Weston Epps. Diego Krigsman. What a tough day it's been for him. And problems. Ricardo DeMarchi, teammates in turn 10. And actually, Weston Epps now right up on Patrick Olson. We're not going to go to replay just yet. This could be exciting stuff here in the final couple of corners of this 4th lap, as we are officially into the back half of the race now. I don't think Malaria is going to get there for the win, but boy, he is going to take 2nd place as we're on to lap 5. Let's go back and check out what just happened in turn 10. Lucas Link and Malaire were battling. We'll pick that up here. And really, it had become a battle with DeMarchi and Malaire again. Let's check this out. Now to turn 10. Malaire up the inside. And oh, he catches DeMarchi. I think DeMarchi was trying to play it defensive there, cover up the move to the inside. But I also think, I'd have to look back at it again, but I think he moved into the braking zone just a little bit. And that is never, ever something you want to do. As DeMarchi actually almost just had a crash with Jack Clark. And he's off the racetrack. Patrick Olson, Diego Krigsman, this is for 5th. And this is a perfect opportunity for Tieko to show that he still has it. And that race 1 was just an oddity. And we know it was an oddity, but boy, it sure looks like a black eye for sure. Here he goes at the inside of the Team Banana, number 77, passing Patrick Olson. Beautiful move there in turn 10 from Tieko. Problems, Jack Clark. Contact, maybe it looks like, oh, nearly got into DeMarchi there. Jan Turvo, teammate to DeMarchi, is now in this battle. We've seen a lot of these Capital Sim Racing machines battling with each other and around each other anyways, forming some sandwiches around the field as we're on to the penultimate lap here. Lucas Link goes purple. Well, let's give it up for Marion Barber. We've not talked much about him at all. I don't recall saying his name a whole lot in that first race. I think it was just about mid-pack. But as soon as he had clean air, as soon as Marion got to clean air in this race, off and away to the races. 5 laps led. That's every single lap so far. And that's impressive, especially in a sprint race like this where you got the field so on top of each other. So much going on around and behind you in this case. As Jack Clark just had an issue. A crash with Riccardo DeMarchi. And boy, that is a big crash as well. That's outside of turn 3. DeMarchi is still there. That is a big, big hit. And now we'll finally take the toe to the pit lane. No caution for those guys. Also worth mentioning, James Mallora's had one heck of a sprint race as well. We saw the battle that he had straight up with Lucas Link and Riccardo DeMarchi, rather. Riccardo DeMarchi, there we go. Apologies there, but it was a great battle with Malloy. I think I might have said Malloy one more time, so I apologize. But white flag is out this time around for Marion Barber as we come to the start-finish line. And quickly, how this race has changed. Only 14 cars remain. We started with 23 earlier today. This has been one heck of a crazy day. Malloy goes purple, 138.079. And Kridgman says, nope, I'm going to dip it to the 137s. Fantastic lap there from Tieco. Things are just split up. We've got 1 or 2 battles left on the racetrack, and this is one of them. Weston Epps and Tieco Kridgman. Tieco could move into 4th. One final lap around for everybody here at Barcelona, and then it's over. And Tieco on the outside gets squeezed there by Weston Epps. They're going to go down to turn 5. Tieco goes around to the outside. Sits back maybe for a crossover move. Going to get there. He's going to try for 7. It looks like maybe around the outside as Weston Epps will go defensive. This again, the battle for 4th position on the racetrack. On board with Tieco Kridgman. An up and down day. Started 18th because he finished 18th in the first race. Up 13 spots in this sprint race. Can he make it 14? It's going to be tough. This might be his best opportunity to get the power down and actually have a move as Jake Potts is slow further back. He drops to 9th spot. One more opportunity maybe for Tieco in turn 13. But it's just not going to be there. Can he do something around the backside of the chicane? No, it's well covered by Weston Epps. Meanwhile, here we go. Your race winner for the sprint race is Marion Barber in race number 2. Congratulations to Marion. And look at that, purple lap for Malloy. Is it purple from Tieco? No. Once again, a fantastic race. I am thoroughly impressed with everybody here in the iFormula League. I did not know what to expect. I'll be entirely honest, did not know what to expect coming into today. I am very, very happily impressed and surprised. Looks like everybody comes across the line, aside from Tristan Marshall. Just one more car from Blue Frog Racing yet to finish. While Tristan runs around for his final couple of corners, let's go back and check out all of that calamity, if possible, for everything that happened a little bit ago. We actually have to dig further back. I'm trying to find all this with Malloy. This was quite a ways back, actually. So here we go. This is back to the fight into turn 10. Malloy up the inside. And, yeah, I mean, again, it looks like it's maybe a cover attempt from DeMarchi. He will get back going here, though. Taking a bit of the rallycross course. Gets back onto the racetrack in turn 12. Gives room there, the 92 of Schroeder. And then up ahead of these guys, Jacob Kridgeman and others, Weston Epps and more. And there's this issue here in just a moment. This is Weston Epps on Patrick Olson here. It's a nice and easy pass, but Riccardo DiMarchi gets back into some trouble, and I'm not sure exactly where it happens. If it happens this time in turn 3, or if it's the next lap around. He was sliding the back end a little bit there, but it looks like it's the next lap through, so we'll advance a little bit in this replay and try and find this moment. He had gone off track, lost a couple of spots, was fighting. That's right, I recall this now. And right there, actually, there's some contact. Let's back it up one more time. But that is how they end up in the wall, and they're not as hard hits as I initially thought, but that's still pretty bruising to the ego, I'm sure. And this was in that battle with the 197 of Jack Clark. Let's actually watch it from Jack's perspective. Moves up the inside on the front stretch, takes that spot away, and DiMarchi comes right on through, going by his teammate, and goes to the inside, and just, yeah, that's definitely not a Riccardo DiMarchi. I think Jack Clark might not have realized that Riccardo was coming up the inside of turn 3, made that move, and contact, of course, ensued. Let's watch it one more time, and we'll go through our race results and talk with some drivers. So drivers, if you're out there watching, podium drivers, go ahead and join the broadcast waiting room. But this is definitely one of the bigger incidents of the day, just between a couple of cars. Blimp view here, and I can't put any bit of that on Riccardo DiMarchi at all. He was aggressive, but man, he was just trying to make a pass. So with 2 races on the day wrapped up, again, boy, that was some of the most exciting racing I've seen in a long time on iRacing. Let's go ahead and go back through our sprint race results. Marion Barberu up front, and actually, I see the issue. There we go. So that'll load Barberu's info there out of Central Eastern Europe. Fastest lap of a 1:38.221 by 2 seconds over James Miller. Lucas Link there in 3rd spot. Weston Epps 4th. Ticker Kridgeman 5th. And the rest of the top 10 all the way down through Nicholas Marshall. And of course, this is just the sprint race. But Ciappellone, man, that is a tough pill to swallow after finishing 2nd earlier in the day. Ted Kuhlman there 12th, Frank Beazer 13th, Tristan Marshall 14th. The final car running at the end. Riccardo DiMarchi finishes 15th, Jack Clark 16th, ahead of Joachim Flodman, Paul Ayala, Andy Ray Miller, and Alexander Shanna. It was not a good day to be a banana, I'll tell you that much. Rory Collins there in 21st, Arturo Mayorga 22nd, and Jackson Carr 23rd position. A few drivers are waiting to go ahead and talk to us. So James Miller first up. You won race number 1, James, in dominating fashion, but it was not without contest. How'd that one go for you?
We finished first on the podium, so it went great, you know.
I can't argue with that logic at all. What was it like coming to Barcelona, first of all, unloading here, and yet you're not in the top 20 in points, but boy, do you have a whole lot of speed immediately battling in race 1.
Yeah, well, we missed a race or so early on in the league. We also were P2 at Monza, where we ran out of gas. So we've put ourselves in a bad spot out the gate, but I believe our last 4 races, we have 2 wins and 2 second-place finishes, so we're looking to finish strong. We didn't have a setup this week. We were tinkering all the way up to the final bell. In fact, I ended up racing one that I hadn't even driven yet, was where I landed. So really surprising how we did, but no complaints on our end.
I think we'll see your name creep back up into the top 20 here soon, because that was one heck of a stellar performance today. First and second of the 2 races. And how about the second race? We saw that really spirited battle there with you and the Capital Sim Racing drivers. What happened?
You know, it's a sprint race, right? It's a different format, which leads to some of the rules seemingly going out the window. People are always going to be a little bit more aggressive. They're not going to give you the space. You're going to get forced off the track. So there was some rubbing and bumping there. it was a shame. I think we really could have caught Marion as a group had I got around him and instead of just losing a ton of time battling each other. Went for a late lunge, and in the braking zone, it looked like he kind of steered over to cover it up, which, again, all's fair in love and war, but it looks like he got the worst of that one. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a sprint race, a great format.
And of course, it's Canada coming up next. Do you think you can continue this string of performance, this momentum wave, if you will, into Canada, maybe even Indianapolis, the race after?
Indianapolis, I couldn't tell you. I haven't driven a lap there yet. We're just getting back into it all. Canada, I've historically always had great pace. We're definitely looking forward to the next race at Canada. I'll tell you that. We'll be ready.
There you go. James Miller, and I think I said Malor a whole lot today. I got the E and the O reversed, but James Miller, I'm going to go with that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like a mole air. There you go.
There we go. Well, congratulations on that win earlier today. Second place in race 2. I'm sure we'll be talking to you a whole lot more the rest of the season.
Look forward to it. We appreciate you. Thank you.
James Miller there with a big day in the office. A big-time performance today at Barcelona. Let's bring in our race 2 winner. One driver by the name of Marion, and I actually have to ask you for your pronunciation here, Marion, on your last name. I've been going with Barberu. Is that close?
Yeah, it's that close. It's Barbiero in Romanian.
Well, there you go. And Marion, it was one heck of a day for you, at least in the sprint race, but you were kind of midfield, it seemed like, in race 1. What was it like for you?
Yeah, the first race was tough. We didn't have a good qualifying session and did some mistakes into turn 1. Had to go wide and took the curb. I thought that I had damage, but the car felt okay. And then we had the safety car, but I couldn't get into the groove for the race. And I was aiming actually for P12, P10, P11 for the sprint race. So I had a bit of good luck with that. Some people had some incidents, so I managed to put the car into a good starting position for the sprint race to minimize the damage that we will take in the championship.
Well, you do end up coming right back in the sprint race and winning, and obviously you don't have to worry about tires in this sprint race. You're just going all out, but it helps when the field kind of clears itself. What was it like lap 1, just trying to navigate that?
Yeah, so lap 1, I knew that I had in front of me and behind me faster guys. So I really thought that I need to have a good turn 1, which I did. So after that, it was me and Jake Potts in the leading the race. But behind us was James, and I had a very, very good luck because they fought behind me. Jake Potts lost the car. It's really tricky out there when you try to push and give it all on cold tires. So I also almost lost the car, but managed to keep it cool. And then, it helped me that they fought behind me and I could push on the first 5 laps. And then when I saw that I have a comfortable gap, I just managed that gap, and that was it.
Well, Marion, congratulations. Led every single lap of the sprint race, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of car 113 the rest of the season. Big stuff today. Can't wait to see how you do at Canada next week.
Thanks, mate. We'll see.
Marion wraps up one heck of a round here, I think. At least the way he capped it off certainly was rather impressive in car 113. And next up, let's talk to somebody who was on the podium in race 1, not so much in race 2, finishing 7th, right where he came into today in points. Jeff Schroeder from Lumos eMotorsport. And Jeff, it was a pretty good day for you in the first race. It kind of seemed like you were going to finish maybe in the top 10, but then suddenly 3rd. What happened from your perspective there at the end of race 1?
First of all, thank you for doing this live broadcast. I think that helps the league much. So thank you for doing the job. In the race, I saw that I was losing time to the driver in front of me. Who was it? Was it Patrick Olsen? I'm not sure. But then I decided to come in, and it was Ricardo, and the undercut just worked perfectly.
It definitely seemed to work perfectly there by the end, finishing third. And how about the sprint race? Unfortunately, it's not the same Cinderella story. Finishing seventh, what was it like?
Yeah, the sprint was a bit harder. I had less grip because the track was getting more hot by the lap, so I was struggling a bit. Therefore, I spun and lost, I think, 2 positions. Yeah, but I still had a good finish, I think.
And how about tires in these races? Obviously, I was brand new. It kind of didn't really have a refresher course right into things. In that first race, you guys took tires at some different laps. What's the strategy there? Do you want to get tires on as soon as possible, or do you want to try and wait so you have better tires at the end?
Yeah, that depends. So today I decided, because I didn't have too much practice and I didn't know too much about tire degradation on this track at this on these circumstances. So I decided to go as long as possible. And yeah, like I said, when I saw that I was losing time to Ricardo and I was feeling the understeer coming to me, brake bias adjustments didn't really help. I struggled a lot in the last chicane, so I decided to just come in, get new tires. I had like 3 laps of fuel remaining, I think, and yeah, then I had a slow out lap as always, because the tires need 2-3 laps to get up to temperature, and then it just came to me and I had a few fast laps at the end.
Well, there you have it. Jeff Schroeder finishes third in race 1, 7th in race 2. Jeff, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations for that podium in race 1. We'll probably see you next week at Canada.
Dave, thank you very much. See you. Bye.
Jeff Schroeder, a impressive run today for sure at Barcelona. Let's talk about, well, not actually the results. We've been there, but let's actually talk about upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV. In just over 10 minutes, in fact 13 minutes, we've got the Sim Pit Road Racing Series. That's GTE cars on the high banks of Daytona International Speedway and the road course in between. Wednesday, it's the Homestead Miami Speedway for the Outlaws Sim Series, and those guys will maybe not be ripping their lip too much up on the top side of the racetrack, but they will be pushing the bounds, certainly, as they try to put themselves into the next round of the playoffs. And, well, Sunday, we come right back around to the Sim Pit Road Racing Series at Monza next week, and I'll be kind of candid about the iFormula League. Now, admittedly, it's going to be a bit tough for me to make Montreal next week. My baby shower is actually Saturday, which means it's just going to be a little bit tough to be back up and right at it early on Sunday. So it's going to be a little bit tough to make both broadcasts happen, but we are going to try. It's not on the lineup just yet, but for you guys wondering, we are going to try for Montreal. It's just not guaranteed, and we'll have, I think, more information about that later on. Hopefully we are there, but also if not, that is why. So hopefully everybody can understand that. I certainly do appreciate the understanding there. While we do wait for that information and talking about more information on social media, go ahead and follow us on socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, even over on Twitch. We broadcast to 4 different places. We post to 3, so you definitely want to watch out where we are on and just where Pit Stop TV is as a whole. We certainly do hope you'll join us for the Sim Pit Road Racing Series here in just about 10 more minutes. Emerson Arden will be joining me for the coverage from Daytona. We can take a look at the Daytona International Speedway track map here, and I am excited for GTE cars at Daytona. I am very, very excited to get that one going as well, and I was very excited to get Barcelona going. I did not know what this race was going to be like, and drivers, you impressed me. Genuinely, you impressed me. A big shout out as well to our partners here with the iFormula League. Extreme Scoring, Capital Sim Racing, Butt Kicker, and Into Objects. All of them bringing you coverage of today's race, making it possible anyways. The IFL AM Series is brought to you by Extreme Scoring. The iFormula League AM Series also brought to you by Capital Sim Racing. Check out all things Capital Sim Racing based in the Czech Republic at capital.store. A small business feel mixed with high-quality sim racing products, Capital Sim Racing is a must for any sim racer. The iFormula League AM Series is brought to you by the Butt Kicker. A proud partner of the iFormula League AM Series, the Butt Kicker provides 3 Butt Kicker Plus units each season, helping these drivers really feel the track. And Into Objects, with Rising App Family Money on the Apple App Store, Into Objects is there to help you keep track of and save your money. A big shout out to our partners as well here at Pits.tv, Whiplash Media, SimCams, SimRapMarket.com, and Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. And with that, we will take a step aside, and well, that's actually it for us here from Barcelona. But in just 10 minutes, we're going live with the Sim Pit Road Racing Series GTE cars from Daytona International Speedway, and I certainly hope you'll be joining us there with Emerson Arden on the call. It's going to be an exciting one, and I cannot wait to get it going. Congratulations to our winners today, James Molaire and Marion Barbarou, and we cannot wait to get back with you guys, whether it's at Montreal or Indianapolis. I very much look forward to it. We'll see you there.